All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Revan Trading Channel. Hope you all are staying safe out there. As always, it's been quite a long time since I've made a video. I've been traveling so much over the last couple months. It has been really hard to sit down and make videos. Also, I've been building a lot of new stuff that I'm really excited to start sharing here soon. And when I get into builder mode, I just am really bad at making videos. So now it's time for the video. Here is a strategy, bumper band strategy I uploaded over the last couple months. I think it was maybe last month or the month before. It's called the BB30 XVMP. So this is a really safe version. I say safe. It just takes a lot less trades. So for sideways markets, it holds on to gains a lot better and still manages to make some decent gains when the market moves to the upside. So for bear markets, it's very, very reasonable to be able to trade this, at least for me. You can see the max equity drawdown is really small. Now, if you look at real life examples, it's a little bit bigger. This one's about 8%. So the biggest drawdown we've seen over this bear market is 8%. And since then, it's gone up about 10%. So, about just making new highs of the last couple days here, and then had a little loss back a couple days ago. But overall, doing really well. Again, for a 30-minute strategy, it is there for any bumper bands users on the Discord. I understand that a lot of other strategies have been losing a lot, especially if you're on the 5-minute, 10-minute time frame. Those strategies are going to get crushed during a bear market. So hopefully no one's trading those for this bear market. Even the 1-hour strategies are generally seeing some losses here. But if you look at buy and hold, this is what I always have to compare to. As long as we are not getting outsized losses compared to past bear markets, which back here in 2022, you can see that this was about a 60% drawdown. Right now, we've only seen almost just about a 30% drawdown in this account, which, of course, if you're trading at 3x leverage, that's a massive drawdown in your account. But if you've had some time to get some momentum to lock away some net gain, then you should be doing okay. Now, again, this comes back to how you manage your account and being really patient and not, increasing your equity size. There's lots of little things to watch out for. People generally tend to increase their equity size after they see a few months of really good profits, and then once you see losses, you'll see your equity disappear really fast. So all of these are things I've talked about in past videos, but important disciplines that I cannot walk you through. I can't handhold you through, but just important to know that all strategies will see drawdowns. If you've seen a 30% or 60% drawdown in the past equity curve, you're likely going to see it again at some point. So just important to know. Even if you have 200, 300, 400% gains, those massive losses do happen. So we've seen on a couple of these 1-hour strategies, these are actually the best performing out of them. And in both, we've seen almost 30% drawdowns in the account, which, again, if you're trading higher equity than you traded during the bull market, then you're seeing outsized losses. So not fun. However, we are seeing some major recovery here really, really nicely over the last few days. So again, it's oftentimes users will stop trading. Right? I just had someone on and trading the quantum wave bands do a whole rant about how they were done with it. Literally, they did it at the I think it was at this loss right here. Where they were trading the quantum wave bands, they lost, and it was like, I'm done, it's over, never trading again. And then we had all of these. So whenever I see people start to really freak out about their losses and be vocal about it, I'm like, well, it's probably time to see the market move to the upside, and not to make light of that. All of us have been in those scenarios where we've lost way more equity than we wanted to, and it's not something to laugh about. I've definitely been there. And then you learn, hopefully, and you trade smaller position sizes, and you're just really careful in the market. So, all right, my rant is over. Let's look at a couple other strategies here. This is the short strategy for the RMO. You can see it's nicely made some gains here, very small amounts of gains over the last few months, and then stayed out of the market the entire time that we saw this push to the upside. So it's doing really well. That is there for any Ribbons users on the Discord. All right, looking at the 4-hour time frame, we did see a couple things happen here recently. It got faked out a couple times, first of all, so I should acknowledge that over past or right here. I say it got faked out. However, this was a decent move to the upside. It should have been a trending signal right here. Now we did see a nice 2.3% move to the upside. And you know, if I was trading trending moves, I probably would have taken some profit there. And to be fair, it did continue to the upside after that. However, we did see it close below this resistance 1 band and even a close below the midline. So there was a bit of a fake out here on the 4-hour time frame. Finally, it closed up here, again, just barely above this resistance dotted midline right there, and then went sideways. And this closed. This is where I really would have, if I was trading the 4-hour on a trending move, I would have gotten back in. So if I, again, earlier, I probably would have traded this move, went long here, hopefully taken profit there. But then if I, you know, was still in the trade, I would have gotten exited right here at about a 1.5 loss. Then here, I would have probably waited. So this is, I prefer not to take any trades off of a partial, barely having a close above. That's usually more of a swing in my experience. Here, though, we did see a actual closure above, and it held the resistance 1 band. So this, to me, would have been a nice place to get in. I would have gotten, you know, about 2.6 gain. Again, I probably would have taken profit a little bit somewhere in here once you have some profits in your hands, especially on a 4-hour time frame. Take some, and however, all that being said, we are still in a trending move as long as we're closing above this resistance 1 band, which we have been. We did see a move to the downside. So if you are trading this like I have given some scenarios, you could enter a little bit heavier here. So maybe take a little bit profit around this band, enter in back a little bit around this band, because again, this is our point of least exposure, because as soon as we get a closure below that, we can exit the trade. So we're still in trending move. You could get back in at 73.5K area, and now we're seeing, you know, back closures back up into the dotted resistance band. So on a 4-hour time frame, still in a trending move. However, on a 12-hour time frame, we are not currently in a trending move yet, and we've actually seen a swing move in play. And I did actually enter a short. More on the 1 day. I'll look at the 1 day in a minute, but I did enter a short based off of the 1 day touching into the 75K area. And so I'm currently short, but I have a pretty low place for risk. We'll look at the 1 day. So on the 12-hour time frame, we do have momentum to the upside. We do have closures above this resistance 1 band. But again, this is on a 12-hour and a daily time frame. This is more of a swing move until we start getting closures above this dotted band right there. So I'm looking for a little bit more, probably sideways. Again, if we do, let me look at the 1 day time frame here real fast. Man, I should have organized this a bit better before I jumped in. My 1 day, here it is. Okay. Yeah, so on the 1 day time frame, this is where I took my short yesterday at a touch into this dotted resistance band right there and a closure below it. And to be fair, I also got a nice move down. However, I didn't take any profit yet, so I'm still just holding on to that move. I only entered a half position size because when trend is turning around from a large dump off like this, it's not wise to get heavily bearish again. Just price generally doesn't work like this. It takes a lot of consolidation, and we did see some strength forming back here. We saw a lot of touches into this dotted support band. No closures even close to it, so that, to me, that's a lot of support being found here, and we did see a little bit of a, again, swing to the upside, swing to the downside, base off of the dotted midline right there, which is newly added to the indicator. And then again, so once I'm seeing support raising higher and higher, so first we saw some touches here, then we're seeing support more off of the support 1 band, then we're seeing support more found off of the midline and the dotted midline. This just means that our trend is moving to the upside. We're finding more and more support. So all that to say, not really wise to get heavily bearish here, but I'm just playing this as it is, calling it and looking at a swing move until we get a closure above our dotted resistance band. All right, so that's everything on the ribbons I want to look at, except for maybe we'll look at a monthly time frame here real fast, and then we'll move on from there. Where's my monthly time frames? I am not. Oh, was that it? Nope, I am not organized at all today. Should have done a bit more. Okay, here's our monthly. All right, so here's our monthly time frame. Again, I think I pointed this out in the last video, but we generally see our market cycles playing out. You can see based off of the RMO, we have a general cycle going on where we'll see about 14 bars to the downside. See about 4 to 8 bars of sideways, and then we'll see just about 25 to 27 bars of bull market. Okay, so that's generally what we're looking at over the last, ever since the conception of Bitcoin. And you can see the last time we had actually a little bit of history to go off of here on the monthly time frame. It did wick into the same area, and from there it had a nice monthly closure to the upside, and then just sideways for quite a while. The biggest move to the downside we saw in 2022 after the bear market ended, and I'm talking the bear market, I suppose, was still going until about December of 2022, where it actually took off to the upside. But this sideways period, it only went down about, how much was that? Let me see, about 19%, 18 to 19% from the closure of the last big bear month. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm looking at right here, where we saw the last month touch into the support 2 band and then wick, nicely off of it. If we're going to look at the same 19-20% area, that is looking at about 53K. I'm going to start investing really anywhere below 60K. I'm going to start buying decently into that. The worst we ever saw after that in the past was, I believe, here in 2018, where it had about a... Actually, that wasn't so bad. That wasn't so bad after all. I thought this was going to be a worse, but it's not really. Let me... Yeah, about 8. So that was about 18% as well back here in 2018. So, yeah, not seeing much for Bitcoin going much below 50K, which I know is what a lot of people are expecting and saying. But we'll kind of just keep track of this. Again, these are all kind of general thoughts and averages. This bear market could go on another couple months, and the sideways go on and push into, I'm looking at anywhere between September and December of this year for the bull market to start again. So somewhere between September and December of this year is where I'm really looking for the bull market to start. So for trading, I'm not going to go heavily long until I first slowly invest and price or average into Bitcoin every time we see a dump off, and then I'll trade a lot more swing plays. I'll trade my strategies lightly, but I'm not getting heavily bullish until this time. So that's what I'm looking at on the monthly time frame. Let's look at a couple other things, and then we'll wrap up here. I wanted to look at Tesla. Tesla's been playing very, very well off of the bands, and if you're wanting to copy it, these are the settings I have for my 4-hour Tesla settings right here. It's more so it doesn't find support as much off of the dotted support band. It finds support more often off of the support 2 band, and it kind of has been walked down by the support 2 band and the resistance 1 band, sometimes wicking up into the dotted resistance. So this is just a general overall swing trend, but with downside pressure. And you can see that it's been just playing off the top of that band very, very perfectly over the last however many closures since January 26th. It's been, kind of in this period. Now we're starting to see the downside momentum waning, I suppose you can say. And we're seeing closures getting higher and higher. So right now we got a wick down into that support 2 band, and that was the last low we've seen. Now we're finding support more off of the support 1 band right here. So I expect a bit of consolidation and probably some upside momentum start to happen here pretty soon. Again, this is just my thoughts. Don't trade or do anything based off my word. Look for yourself and decide for yourself. But I am seeing some hopeful signs here. At least, again, this is a 4-hour time frame. I think we looked at all this other stuff I wanted to look at here. So, all right, this is where I'm going to wrap it up for today. Again, hope you all stay safe out there. I know it's a kind of crazy period. There's it's really boring. A lot of people have lost interest. But if you can hold on, at least stay engaged, stay interested. Maybe you don't have to trade, but at least keep your eye on stuff so that you have a general sense of the market. So when things do start to turn around, you can make some really great decisions. All right. I will talk to you all in the next video.